Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I have a special guest, Mrs. Gabi from Germany. Thank you, Mrs. Gabi, for accepting the invitation to be in the studio.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
She is primarily a leadership trainer, and tonight she will be addressing on leadership principles and qualities so that we can become a better leader in our own lifetime. It was John Maxwell who said once in his lecture, "The rise and fall is on leadership." And it is vitally important for a leader to understand and comprehend on leadership principles and qualities and apply them in their own life, in their own leadership journey, so that they can contribute something better to their own society, institutions, or organization. So tonight, Mrs. Gabi will be addressing the real issues and also the principles. Mrs. Gabi, may you please take time.
Today's leadership principles we want to take from an historical Jewish figure, and his name is Joseph. He lived about 1400 years before Jesus Christ, BC, and his life is a very interesting one. We can learn so much from him. Now, first, we need to know that his family background was not the best. His father married 2 wives. One of them he did not even love, and the other one he loved very much. Both of them had sons, and so his father, Jacob, had these 12 sons, but there was a lot of animosity between the sons of the first wife and the sons of the other wife. So Joseph was the son of the favored wife, and his father Jacob loved Joseph more than all the other sons. So there was a great imbalance in that family, and the atmosphere was not good. Actually, these 10 elder sons, they did not like Joseph because the father loved him so much more. It was hard for Joseph growing up there, and there's the incident where the brothers wanted to kill him. They threw him in a pit and they sold him into slavery to Egypt. And so his life went on, and he went to work in Egypt. He was sold into slavery in Egypt. He ended up in prison. He got himself out of prison, and his life was full of ups and downs. And the one principle that we can draw from Joseph's life story is that he actively made choices. His life didn't chase him, but he chose to do certain things or not to do certain things. And this is one principle that is very important. Sometimes life can be very hard or difficult, and yet we can choose to overcome these obstacles and go in a different direction, into a positive direction. There are many studies that show that some of the famous leaders that are well known in the world, they've had very difficult childhoods. They had to make decisions, they overcame challenges, and they made choices to lead a different life. And so really, that's one thing I want to share with you. A good leader makes choices and takes life into his or her own hands. The second principle I want to draw from Joseph's life story is that Joseph was a man of vision. Early on in his childhood, he had a dream where he saw himself in a position that was higher than the position of his brothers. He understood that dream, and he knew that he was called to leadership. And the vision that he had for his life was so important to him. He held on to the vision. This vision guided him through all the ups and downs of his life. and he never let go of that vision. Now, without vision, there is no leadership. Every big company that we know in the world today was started by somebody who saw something that was not yet there, something that he or she wanted to see happen in the future. A good leader needs to have vision. This is something we also learned from Joseph's life. Principle number 3 that we can learn from the life of Joseph is a good leader has endurance. And what that means is that a good leader keeps going for a long time. Now, in the life of Joseph, this was the case that a lot of things happened in the first 30 years of his life, a lot of action. When we look to the end of his life story, we know that he was 110 years old when he died. So there were 80 years of his life where not many noticeable things happened, but Joseph was still there, he kept going, and he finished strong until the end. He provided for his brothers, he provided for many people, he put things in order. Joseph was not a leader that gave up quickly, but he showed endurance until the very end. And in today's world, a good leader will face opposition. And the question is, how do we face that? And do we give in? Do we give up? Or do we carry on? A good leader is not faced by opposition, but he pursues the dream. He follows the vision till the end. And actually, the way we finish is often more important than the way we start. There is another very important principle that I want to share from the life of Joseph. There was a time in his life when he was sold into slavery to Egypt. He was working in a very rich man's house. He worked his way up, he got a lot of responsibility, and then one day the wife of his boss came after him. She wanted to seduce him. She had not good plans with Joseph, and this was a crucial point in his life. How would he react? Now, Joseph in this moment showed a lot of self-discipline. He did not give in to this woman, but he ran away and he escaped a situation that would not have been good for him. Now, this is very important. A leader needs to show self-discipline. He can't give in to everything that he sees to the left and to the right. He needs to know what is the right way forward. He needs to be disciplined. And another big word is integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching. Joseph was a hard worker. He had worked himself up in that household. He was well known for being honest, hardworking, and respectable. And to give in to this lady's demands would have gone against all of his principles, and he would have not shown integrity in that case. So he knew what he had to do, and he stood strong by his own conviction. So a good leader needs to be self-disciplined and show integrity. The final principle I want to share from Joseph's life is that he was always a very diligent man. In Egypt, he spent time working as a slave in a rich man's house. Then he ended up in prison. And after that, he arose and he worked for the Pharaoh, the king at the time. And at each stage, Joseph worked very, very hard. He was reliable, he was dependent, he was diligent. And we can learn from that. A leader is someone who works hard. A leader rolls up his sleeves. And I think a good question to ask ourselves is this company, is this organization that I work for, are they blessed because of my presence? Do I bring benefits to them? Does it make a difference that I work for them? And so leaders are not exempt from hard work. Oh, I just let everyone else work for me. No, a leader needs to go ahead and show a really good example. Work hard and be diligent.
Wow, those points were great and lovely, and I believe that if a leader can apply those principles in their own life, they can really be an extraordinary leader wherever they're working, whether it's in institutions or in organizations or anywhere.
Right. Well, thank you. And I really hope that you and other viewers could really benefit from it.
Yes. So I have a couple of questions, those points that you have shared to you. And I was just wondering how Joseph would, overcome temptations or obstacles and become a great leader in their own time. So I have first question to you, and I think probably you can help even the viewers to, understand this very important element. Today in the world, leaders are always tempted with lust. How would you tell when a leader is seduced or tempted, which will destroy his leadership positions and even his personality? So how would a leader would overcome from such a great temptation?
I think a very important thing is to have an accountability system in place. That a good leader has one or maybe two close friends that he needs to be accountable to every week for what happens in his thoughts and his actions. He needs to give accountability. I would encourage every married leader, you need to be open and honest with your wife and share these challenges and allow her to ask you certain questions regularly.
That's a great answer that you have pointed, that's accountability. And I think if we are accountable, then we probably will not fall into such a great trap. That's a wonderful answer. I have also a second questions to you. In certain culture, a leader is a boss, where a leader is only a commander instead of working person. So how would you suggest or say a good leader, is it necessary to work?
You are right, it is a cultural thing. In my culture, a boss does not stand out as much, is not as highly respected as in many Asian cultures. But I do think that a good leader earns the respect of his employees by getting his hands dirty and also showing he is willing to do something and not just shout orders. I still believe that impresses people. I don't think it reduces the respect of the leader, but every leader can show that, yes, I am willing to work long hours and to be in the office and to do what needs to be done. I think there are ways that even in this culture, a leader can show, yes, I am with you, I ask you to work hard, and I show you that I also work hard.
Basically, you're pointing out a leader is not only just sitting or is not only just commanding, but also involves in the work.
Yes.
And goes along with the servants or the persons along with whom you're working.
Yes, I think that's crucial. You need to show that you are in there with them. Everyone is contributing to success.
Then that's very great. I think that can be a servant leadership, a kind
Yes.
of, and everyone impresses even to a leader, and going along with the servants. That's a great answer, and thank you once again for your great answer.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Gabi, it was incredible how you have mentioned on the leadership principles And I hope and I look forward again tomorrow talking and listening on the leadership principles. I enjoy it, and I do believe that the audience enjoy, and I hope that we can have a better leadership in our own lifetime.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to coming back.
Thank you.